things we need to reflect on as we're engaging with culture. But for me, there's three particular things that I found helpful for me as I've ministered and worked with young people who don't have a faith, in terms of where I start from and start to engage and follow. So I'll just share these three things with you. And I like this line, which is why I've underlined it. It's not a temporary way of holding them in church so they learn to worship properly like the rest of them. I think one of the biggest challenges, particularly if we have very few young people, is thinking about how do we connect with them in a world that feels alien, separate, different from the one that we perhaps inhabit as church leaders. And I don't know what percentage of your ministry time is spent ministering to other Christians and what percentage of your time is spent engaging with people of no faith or very little understanding of faith at all.
Becoming a follower of Jesus so often begins as a child or teenager. When the disciples struggled to understand the kingdom, Jesus explained it with a child. And today, it's estimated that 1/3 of all children in the world have never heard about Jesus.
One of the challenging stats from the Today video, where it talks about 1/3 of kids have never heard about Jesus, that's not just in the far reaches of some part of Africa where the gospel's not got to yet. That's in this country. That's in Wales, that's in England. There are children that don't know the Easter story. The Bible Society did some research and discovered something like 1/3 of kids think Harry Potter's from the Bible. Why wouldn't he be? They don't know what's in it. Could be, couldn't he? Now, just that is something that should make us go, what? Children not knowing what's happened at Easter, apart from chocolate and bunnies and things. And similarly at Christmas. So, there's a place to start that can feel as if we're beginning from nothing. But in some ways, we're in a better place, I think we were, or we are, if we're starting from nothing, than where I think we might have been when I was growing up. Because I felt, certainly as a Christian young person, there was antagonism towards me as somebody of faith. And I found it very hard to be a Christian and express my faith. Now you could almost argue, whatever's cool for you, that's fine. But for lots of children and young people, there's no frame of reference. So they're not antagonistic because they've not a clue. They have no sort of way of expressing that. We're in a challenging context in the world in terms of how religion is perceived. We've got fresh expressions, but sometimes they feel like a movable feast. If we do cafe church and the people that normally come instead for a croissant and a newspaper and a bit of coffee as part of the service, we'll call that a fresh expression, even if everybody there is the same people that came last week. It's just us doing church differently for the people we're already working with. For me, a fresh expression is perhaps doing something for people that don't come. Sometimes what we do on a Sunday isn't the essential stuff that we're talking about, what we need to pass on. Amen. So a question for us is, how do we get there if this is what I'm expected to do? Now, I don't know the answer, okay? So you'll think I'm suddenly going to magically make it different. It's a question we've got to keep asking, because we have to wrestle with that. If we're not doing what's essential because of what's expected, then some of the things that we're getting as a result of that is because we're not having the time to do the things that really matter, that we know will make the most difference. This is Dumbledore. Sorry, I'm not quoting the Bible at this point, but he says this to Harry. Let me tell you, if you've not read the books, it's not about magic. It's about the relationships between three kids. Will, Ron and Hermione ever get together? Does Harry know that Ginny likes him? My girls have both read them, and what they're most interested in is the relationships. How are these three friends going to, survive to the end of book 7? What's going to happen? And it's about their relationships being played out. Now, if you look at young adult fiction and dystopian young adult fiction, it's all about those things. And we have this incredible God who wants a relationship with us. It's our relationship with God that matters, and that he wants a relationship with us. And where do we start? Where do we begin as we're thinking about how do I engage with people who are constantly on their phones or constantly doing this, that or the other? connecting with other people. There is a desire for us to be connected and engaged with others, whether that is virtually or physically. So relationships is a place to begin and to engage with people. This for me is really annoying as a stat, but I'm sharing it with you anyway. Those who said they had religious faith, 92% of Muslims said it made a difference to their lives. Only 45% of Christians could say the same. What is it that they're doing that's different from what we're doing? Jesus' encounter with people, they were transformational, but often they were things where he met somebody on the road and something happened and they were transformed. Whether it's the woman with the issue of blood, the blind man, the tax collector, transformation happens from an encounter, a kairos moment with God. And when we're working with children and young people, I want you to think in both senses of time. The chronos time, yes, we need to spend time. And sometimes in your communities, you need to invest years to see fruit. But also, let's not forget the kairos time where God can work in the moment. And for young people, they're wanting to know, does it work? It's not whether it's true. I've had this conversation with young people when I've gone in and taught about stuff. You know, this is what I believe and this is why I believe it. And they say, well, that's great. And then we've had a conversation about truth and they've said to me literally these words, I don't care if it's true. I've been blown away by what they have done when they've sensed that God is present and is doing something. That's with my own kids in terms of encounter, their own reflections on what God is doing and saying through his word and through being present in their lives, and the way children I've worked with at times have felt that God is speaking to them. And if they know they're accepted, loved, there's a place of significance, what stories might they share because of that safety that inspires and challenges the whole church because they're hearing what God is saying to them?